I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking with Steffen Russak, who is taking readers on a poignant journey in his memoir, Around the World in 12 Years and 12 Square Meters. Through the lens of his travels aboard the Future with his late wife, Marianne, he crafts a heartwarming tale of love, adventure, and inspiration, capturing the essence of a lifetime shared exploring different cultures. We are delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Authors Tranquility Press for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel. Steffen, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to
My pleasure.
talk about my
book. Why don't we start out by telling the folks at home what Future was when we say you traveled aboard Future?
I didn't quite understand the question.
Well, that was your RV, right? The name of your RV was Future? And you took quite a trip with your wife in it. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, okay. Well, the book, I had actually no intention of writing a book about this. But when my wife died, I was a bit lost, and I started to write this for my own, for my own, just to remember to live again, all those things. And then I thought maybe this thing is interesting for my children, grandchildren too. So I started to write a little bit more concentrated.
Yeah.
And then the family said, "Okay, this book will interest everybody. I think you should write a real book." And so I did.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you took quite a few adventures with your wife, traveling the world. Tell us about your journey.
Well, our journey was we always travel very much. I had to travel a lot of business, and whenever possible, I took my wife with me. And so we had known a lot of the world, China, India, and Japan, and the US, and everything. We were living in Switzerland in those days. And when I retired, then we saw an opportunity to travel around the world, and had this car built, custom made for us. And we decided to concentrate on the parts of the world we didn't know yet very good, very well. And so we started from Switzerland to the eastern of Europe that we didn't know very well at that time. And we had the idea of traveling with the car through Iran. At that time, it was still possible, to India and so on. But then the whole start with the 9/11 started, and the US were attacking the terrorists in Afghanistan and so on, and it was very difficult to drive through. And then when we had a chance to go, then a war between India and Pakistan started. We couldn't go over. So we shipped from Greece directly to Australia. And then we visited Australia and New Zealand. And we decided then to see Africa, and then to South Africa, and visit the whole south of Africa. And then went to Argentina. And from there, we did the whole Panamericana until Fairbanks in Alaska.
Amazing. Amazing trip. What were some of your favorite places as you traveled abroad with Marianne?
You know, this is a question that is asked very often, and we cannot say. I cannot say which. Every country has its good and its bad things, mostly good things, and it's different culture, different history. So we tried not to compare, and not to be judgmental, you know. We try to accept things as they are. We study the history of the countries,
Hmm.
to understand why it became what they were now. But what we didn't make any judgment. We tried not to.
Yeah. It's amazing that you took such a journey. I'm sure that you're so delighted that you did because it's created so many good memories, right?
Very many good memories. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
When you travel to a different place, that journey is cemented in your mind. If you just stay where you are, it's just another passing day.
yeah,
So,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. That's exactly that. Yeah.
that's the beauty of traveling for sure. Yeah.
And the beauty of it is also the positive aspects.
Mhm.
You know, people in general are very, very nice and very hospitable.
Mhm.
And uh, uh, we came to the conclusion that 90% of humanity is decent, normal people.
Yeah.
5% are saints, and 5% are devils.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more or
Exactly.
less like the proportion. But what
Exactly.
those are the 90%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I say. One out of 20 people is a jerk. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
ignore you can't ignore the other 19. The other 19 are wonderful. But if somebody, all day long people say good morning, they'll be gracious, they'll be nice, but you meet that one person who's an idiot to you, and then it stays in your head for so long. So
Yes, yes,
you got to
yes.
focus on the positive, not on the negative, for sure. And your book certainly focuses on the positive. And enjoying and sharing in other cultures was a big part of your journeys. Um,
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about why you guys enjoyed immersing yourselves in other cultures so much.
You know, it's difficult to say that, but it's exotic. It's exotic, and
Yeah.
it state brings you out of the of that limited space that you had in your mind before. You start to see things much bigger, and you can see that you can do things in a different way, and so it opens up your mind, very much, and you get a it's a bit like visiting another planet.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's really. I think this is the thing that it opens up
Yeah.
your view of the world.
Especially if they're speaking a different language, if they're of a different race, then you
Yes,
really feel like, you're visiting a different world. Their food is different, their language is different, they look different. And that's the beauty of this world is that in every corner of the globe, you have a different type of person. How important do you think food is when you are exploring and
uh,
embracing a different culture?
it's very important because it tells you a lot about the country, about the people. Food is a kind of how to say the kind of communication
Yeah,
element. You
exactly.
you through the food you see what they have in the country, what they use to make food,
Hmm.
and that it tells you a lot about the country and the way they handle that, they cook and everything. It's very very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The food is probably the most distinctive part of any culture, food, the language. So enjoying that food, exploring that food, being daring and trying the food is all very, very important.
It is.
Tell us a little bit about your own personal journey. You live in Idaho now. Did you live your entire life in Idaho or did you come from another land? Tell me a little bit about your story.
Yeah, well, I was born in Brazil, in the northeast of
Hmm.
from Swiss parents.
Hmm.
But I was born there. I grew up in Brazil. I went the first time to live in Switzerland when I was 19 years old, and I didn't speak the language. I had to learn the language and everything.
Wow.
And then we lived in Switzerland. I studied engineering, and I met my wife. We
Hmm.
married. Our first son was born there, and then we went back to Brazil. Uh, for me, it was back. For my wife, it was the first time. And we lived 12 years in Brazil and finally returned to Switzerland and
Hmm.
spent our, our whole active life, let's say, professional life in Switzerland.
Hmm.
And after my retirement, we started to travel around the world.
Yeah.
And we moved to the States when we finished the traveling after 12 years on the road. My wife got sick and we
Hmm.
couldn't continue that kind of life. So uh, our children had moved to the States very early. My,
Right.
my son-in-law is a professor at the university in Boise, and they had become Americans. So it was easy for us to come and join the family here.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that was the reason why we came. Yeah.
So you're a born traveler. I mean, you've lived in Switzerland, you've lived in Brazil, you lived in the United States. So your whole life has really been a literal journey, don't you
Yeah,
think?
it is. It is.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
lived also in Germany for 1 year, a few months in England. So we lived in different countries too during my professional life.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Your book addresses themes of love, loss, and exploration. Tell us a little bit about that.
Uh, the exploration. Well, how should I say that? We when you are traveling like that, you have you actually have no program. We had a rough idea what we wanted to see and so on. My wife was the one who studied the route ahead, and said, this is interesting, that is not interesting, so on. And so it was, each day was an adventure and exploration, actually,
Hmm.
because we had a very rough plan how to go. And if we found the place we liked, we stayed for a while. And we tried to get good information about the country we're going to visit. And
Hmm.
for instance, in Australia, the Kimberleys, there are some fantastic mountains, there's they are different colors in layers of different colors. So it's beautiful.
Hmm.
And one of our books, The Lonely Planet, said that you should not go on foot because you couldn't go anywhere and you really didn't see any. With the airplane was not so good because they had a certain height they had to keep
Hmm.
and do it. So the best thing would be with an helicopter.
Oh.
And that's what we did. And it was fantastic because it used to stay low between two mountains,
Yeah.
you can see everything in details. And this sort of thing, we're discovering
Yeah.
the world practically, yeah, all
Yeah.
the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's my absolute favorite way to fly is to be in a helicopter because
Yeah,
you really get the thrill of flying. You feel
yeah,
yourself pull away off the ground. You've got glass underneath you.
yeah,
It's really thrilling. It really is
yeah.
a great, great way to explore the world, explore a country, or explore a city for sure. And yeah, I've spent a lot of time in helicopters and I love them. What were you hoping that readers take away from this book when they read about your travels, your adventure, and your love and your loss?
Well, one thing I hope that they take out of it is tolerance.
Mm,
That they see that other people are different, but they are not bad or dangerous or whatever. They are people like we are, but the different culture, the different environment. I think the understanding and tolerance
mm,
for other people is very important.
yeah,
And also a little bit of the spirit of adventure that
yeah,
that perhaps
yeah,
uh, they see how interesting it could be to travel,
right.
and they will travel, and then they will make the same experience that we made.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What advice would you have for people who are thinking about traveling the world extensively like you have?
Uh, it's the world is much different now than it was. We're very lucky that we're in a time when everything was very open and the globalization was really going on. But now it's a bit more difficult. So to do what we did to build a car to go all over the world it's very difficult. Perhaps it's better that you go to a country and rent or buy a motorhome there, travel around with a motorhome. Some people like to travel by boat.
Yeah.
Uh, they go with their yacht all over. But I think for us that would be an idea because it's too limited.
Hmm.
You are limited to to the water, to the coast,
Right.
and the most interesting things are not there. And with a motorhome, you can also see the coast. You can go there. We in Tasmania, we spend a whole day on a sailboat with a good skipper traveling around and so on. It was very beautiful, but it was just a day.
Yeah.
And otherwise, we were free to visit the whole island. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Tell
Uh,
me about how traveling so much with your wife affected your relationship. I'd imagine it made it stronger. I imagine sharing in adventures together made it more wonderful.
yes, that is a
Yeah.
very interesting, very important question.
Mm.
Some people tell us, "Oh, I couldn't stay the whole time in a small space with my wife and I will start to fight and so on and so forth." With us, it was the other way around. We got so close. We were always very close, but we got even closer
Yeah.
during this trip. It was wonderful to be together all the time, to have somebody all the time we could talk to
Yeah.
discuss things, you could emotionally deal with these things and so on. It was very interesting, and we thought a lot about our life, about what we had experienced in our life, the good and the bad things and so on, and we compare that with the lives of people living in a different culture.
Yeah.
That was very, and it brought us more and more together.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That,
mean, when you spend that much time together in a small space, the other person becomes the other part of your brain, your other hand. You know what I mean? They really, you guys meld into one very much. Your thoughts are all communicated to each other, your observations.
yeah,
Sometimes you'll communicate without even speaking or come up with the same thought simultaneously. Yeah, yeah, it's
yeah,
amazing. I had a similar experience during the lockdown in COVID. I felt,
yeah, yeah,
if you were locked down with somebody and you were the only person they saw day in, day out, it was kind of the same experience. And I think it was a test for couples. Some couples went their separate ways, other couples became stronger and better, like you and Marianne did.
yeah.
Are, are you still doing some traveling?
No, at the moment, not so much. Alone is not so not so much fun.
Yeah, I
And
know.
uh, I try to go to Switzerland every year once to visit the friends and family and so on.
Hmm.
But I'm not very much interested in traveling anymore.
Right, right.
I
What
I
was it?
try I tried, but I didn't like it so much.
Right. What was it like writing the book? It must have been kind of a nice trip down memory lane to remember all of the wonderful experiences you guys had, right?
That was it. That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
How long did it take you to write it? Tell me what the writing process was like for you.
It was about a year.
Hmm.
About a year. Uh, I had to do some. I had to go after my diaries and things and the pictures and so on. And I was amazed that some things I had in my memory quite different from what I had thought at the time when I read my diary, I saw the difference between what I remembered and what I had written.
Exactly. Well, it's good you had the diary
Yeah, yeah,
because that was kind of the backbone for the whole book.
real book.
Was you were keeping a journal of what you were doing, what you were seeing, what you were thinking, what you were experiencing.
Yeah.
Um, absolutely. If
And
you were to give it, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had to be careful what I write, that it's correct, historically correct. Uh, I had to do some research,
Hmm.
compare what was in the books and what I had seen, and make sure that I was telling the truth. No, not
Yeah.
uh, false memories or something.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, next month I'm starting a trip. I'm going to fly from New York to Paris, and from Paris we're taking the train, my wife and I, from France to the south of France, into Portugal, across Spain, and up Italy, and then back to France. So, any advice from me as I embark upon a train journey with just a backpack
Mm.
and a Euro ticket?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea, a
Yeah,
great way to do it,
yeah,
and perhaps just that you remain flexible,
yeah.
that you go see, you stay longer in the places you like, that yeah,
Yeah,
that you remain flexible and enjoy. This way you can enjoy more.
exactly. That's the plan. If we find a place we love, we'll stay, 4 or 5 days instead of 2 or 3 days. If a place we don't like it that much, we'll leave the next day and
Yeah.
just get on the train and figure it out. But you've
And,
really, go ahead. I'm sorry.
sometimes you meet people on the
Yeah,
train and they give you a tip, that such thing is very nice. And then perhaps you uh, eliminate something that you had planned for to and go to that place that was recommended. And sometimes it's a great thing. Yeah.
meeting the people is the best part of travel and the little conversations you have.
Yeah.
I was in Ireland about a dozen years ago, and we took the train from Galway to Dublin. And we met a woman on the train who just for some reason didn't have a euro to buy a cup of coffee as the trainman came by. And I bought her a cup of coffee. And she was thrilled. And I found out it was her birthday, and she was traveling to Dublin to meet her brother. And she had never been to Dublin before. And we still talk about Mrs. Kilbane, my wife and I, whom we met on the train and made that such a wonderful journey, talking to her, getting, caught up in that energy, getting
Yeah.
caught up in her enthusiasm, right?
That's exactly the things
Yeah.
that are wonderful in the trip.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We met some nice people in Ireland, but there are nice people in cities all over the world.
Yeah.
And if you folks at home are listening, pick up this book. It'll inspire you. It'll give you an idea of all the creative things that Stefan and Marianne did in their journeys around the globe. The name of the book is Around the World in 12 Years and 12 Square Meters, Memories and Insights by Stefan Russak. It is a wonderful read. They're his memories, but you will be able to relate to so many of the insights and stories that he tells. Stefan, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. This was a real nice talk. I enjoyed it very much.
I'm glad you did. I enjoyed it as well, and I learned a lot. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.